Did that too soon. No, my biddies, how are you today? Can't believe it's always already Thursday. Oh, it's been a week. It's been a week already. Lots of stuff going on in my private life that I don't discuss here. So, but didn't do the wrong one. So, we will just jump into it here. uh, Today I don't have any opening statements today. So, and I always it's like looking in a mirror and I can't tell my left from my right in normal times. Got up on time, did all the right things, and still running behind. I used too much water for my coffee. It's going to be one of those days. So I'm thrilled. I have lots to do today. But this is more important to me, being with you. Um, we're going to start with Neighbors from Hell. And this is entitled Neighbor Mad at New Driveway. And it's a what would you do vent rant. That's what it's flared. So I live in the rural, I can't say rural. Never could say that word. Don't know why. Everybody has that one word or one or two words that they can't pronounce for some weird reason. So I live in the high desert on the West Coast. My wife and I built a house on a parcel that is not connected to the road directly. We have an easement that goes between two other parcels to get to our place. I also have an easement for my driveway. Apparently, they don't do those anymore where I live. They did when they built this house. We wanted direct access to the road, so we decided to buy, it says TO2. I think they meant TWO2. So we decided to buy two vacant parcels in front of our house to build a driveway. Nice if you can afford that. I started construction on the driveway last Saturday by removing brush with my wheel loader. Don't know what a wheel. I should. My son does construction landscaping. The neighbor came over to speak with me and he was very upset I was building a driveway. He said my driveway was over there where my easement is. I said, "Well, this is my property and I want to put a driveway here, so I'm going to." He says, "You can't do that. Your driveway's over there." I'm like, "Well, my property is here. I'm putting a driveway in it. If you're worried about dust on your property, you should have bought this lot." He pointed his finger at my face and says, "You're going to get what's coming back to you, mother effer." I said, "What are you talking about?" He just stuck his finger back in my face and repeated this threat. I said, "Well, you're trespassing on my property. You need to leave." And then he stormed off back to his property. I run a farm that's across the road from our houses. I have more than one house. Interesting. I had a couple of tractors sitting over there since we were harvesting the hay. The next day, I went to drive one of the tractors, and about an hour of running it, the engine stop DEF warning light came on. I shut the tractor down since it was Sunday. I want it's to call the technician on Monday. Waited to call the technician on Monday? Wanted to call the technician on Monday? Please proofread your Reddits, dudes. The technician arrives Tuesday and says my DEF system failed. We checked the tank and found it was topped off with gasoline. We had not put DEF in that tractor for over a week and was still sitting about half full when we shut it down on Saturday. For whatever reason, the gauge still read half Sunday morning, even though it was full to the top with gasoline. We have almost nothing on the ranch that runs on gas. I have got some small engines, but other than that, it's very rare to have gas around. There's no chance it was a mistake by an employee. I know the neighbor did it. Tractors can be over $8,000, not to mention is very dangerous. Gas injected into a hot exhaust has the potential to explode. So I called the sheriff and filed a police report. The sheriff came out and said there's no evidence. He went to talk to the neighbor and the neighbor denied it. The sheriff says there was nothing he could do. So what would y'all do in this situation? I want to get even, but I don't want to make it worse. I have a lot to lose out here and a lot more than him. Any thoughts? Yeah, put up a camera. Put up a camera, catch him. Piles of cameras. Start bangle. Oh, no, sorry, slart bangle. Don't know what a slart is. Piles of cameras, trail cam with night vision around the property, and main system for all buildings. Floodlights with motion sensors, plenty of signage, fences upon fences upon fences. You should very, very much report the vandalism to your local Leos on edit. You did, oops. Even if they can do nothing, it starts the paper trail for the next time, making it the next time stick. I like dogs and recommend them as warning devices. This person will poison any dog left on its own, however. Geese make great sentries. Nothing gets close to them without setting off their cacophony of honking and squawking. Yeah, geese are pretty freaking harsh. Ancient Greeks used to use them as ceremonial guards. Billy goat is awful damn good. Less trusting of strangers than your average dog. Billy goat might qualify as a booby trap, though those things can kill a cougar. Oh, goats are awesome. My grandpa had goats. They were George and Stanley. Oh, goats are good. Goats are good for like you can rent them out and they will clear brush. They're pretty awesome. Our neighbors have goats. They're cute. The next one is Oh No Consequences, and it is Flared Shocked Pikachu. It says OOP dumps his fiance for his high school crush and predictably gets used. Um, this is from Oru Time Machine Tuesday. Best of Redditor updates 2 years ago. I, 25 male, have it had the chance to date my old high school crush, 25 female, but I'm engaged to my fiance, 24 female. What do I do? Update. Yeah, don't date your high school crush because you're not in love with her. You're in love with the idea of her. Don't date people you have crushes on, or at least like a long time ago, because you're not in love with that person. You don't even know that person. You're in love with the idea of that person that you have in your head. I've seen this go wrong so many times. Occasionally it will go right if you're in the right place. If both people are unattached and you have time to put into a new relationship, it can go well. Most of the time, especially if you're in a relationship already, it doesn't end the way you think it will. March 10th, 2024. Had a crush on this girl, Carla, since middle school going into high school, but she never paid me no mind. I left for the military and met. Hold on a second. I hope this has sound. Nope, that's a mute button. Settings. Nope. Okay, I have no idea if my mic's working or not. I hope so. Um, okay, March 10th, 2024. I had a crush on this girl, Carla, since middle school going into high school, but she never paid me no mind. I left for the military and met Sarah, who is a nurse and wants to become a doctor, nurse practitioner. Sarah was the usual type of girl I dated. I left the military to do contracting work and moved back to my home state. One day while I was getting drinks at the bar, Carla was my bartender. She didn't recognize me. When I told her my name, she couldn't believe it. She said she couldn't believe how much I changed. I started becoming a regular and eventually changed contact information with her to catch up. Throughout this time, she told me she has a crush on me, even though she knows I have a fiance. She said she likes how driven I am. Now I'm conflicted. She says she will give me time to think about what I want to do. My fiance and I are doing great, but I feel like she's normally the type of woman I always get. Carla, I never had the opportunity or thought I would. I don't want to hurt Sarah, but I feel like I would regret this forever if I don't pursue it. Um, don't pursue this. Don't pursue this. Commenters are telling OOP to dump Sarah because she deserves better than a cheater like himself. Well, that's true. And that he is going to regret his flighty decision in the long run. That's also true. Update, I want my fiance back. Told ya. Told ya. April 2nd, 2024. It's like not even a month. Like 3 weeks, guys. I broke her heart. I love Sarah so much I stupidly called off the wedding to be with my old crush for a few weeks ago. Throughout the couple of weeks, Carly used me as a piggy bank. Oh, really? Shocker. That's all I was effing that's that's all I effing was to her. I spoiled her, paid for her nails, hair, etc. I gave her everything. I found out she used money I zelled her to buy a ticket for some guy to come and see her. I'm sick to my stomach. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing because it's kind of sad, but you deserve this. Could have had Sarah. Could have had Sarah and be happy. But no, we had to go to Carla. I reached out to Sarah, but she feels betrayed and said she doesn't want to be sloppy seconds. But she's not. Doesn't matter. If she feels that way, that's how she feels. And honestly, dude, come on. I love her and I needed this to realize it. No, you didn't. OOP insists he loves Sarah and he just needed these past few weeks to remind him of that. Commenters don't buy it and laugh at him. Oh, yeah, see, this is what you get. This is what you get. I told ya. Nike is always right. Junker says, I understand that I am older than this man, but even at 25, I would consider myself in such a different person than who I was in high school. And the idea of finally getting to date my high school crush would not have been appealing. Like literally here, attraction seems to be that this is someone he was romantically interested 10 years earlier. How can you really find that still alluring? Guy seems like he has had a lot of life experience since then. Yeah. The OP that posted this says he must have had some fantasy cooked up in his head about her. Yeah, because he was in love with the idea of her, not in love with her. Didn't even know her. It's crazy. And if you're unhappy, break up. Don't go pursuing another relationship before the breakup. It's crazy. You're crazy people. I get that people don't want to be alone, but sometimes that's the best thing for you. Next one is entitled people, entitled passenger on AA American Airlines. It happened today. FC on AAITC to DCA on E175. Okay, that's where they're from going on and what kind of plane they're in. We are in 3D and F. Elderly woman boards and sits in 2A. She settles in, orders a drink, pulls out her tray table, and waits for boarding to complete. A man boards puts a hard shell guitar case in the D2F overhead, where my carry-on is as well. Turns to the woman in 2A, stands over her and says, "Why are you in my seat?" The woman says, "I'm sorry, I thought this was my seat. I'm in 2D." He says, "It's not, and you need to move." She is a bit flustered by his tone, apologizes, and tries to pull the tray table down. It takes her a few tries, and she continues to get more flustered. I mean, she was in the wrong seat, but maybe she honestly didn't know. I mean, especially if she's elderly, it's sometimes those letters are hard to read. All this is happening. The flight attendant tells the guy he'll have to gate check his guitar. It doesn't fit in the overhead bin. His response is, "This woman is in my seat. I'm sitting in 2A." So the flight attendant says, "It won't fit in your overhead bin either, and we have a full flight." He argues he can make it fit once he gets in the right seat. What? This poor elderly woman, still trying to stow the tray table, gets out of this jerk's way and finally gets the flight attendant's attention and help with the tray. Plane continues to board. People in coach are having bags taken off and gate checked because of space. A second flight attendant tells him he needs to gate check his guitar, which is still hanging out of the overhead across from his seat. When he gets a break in passenger traffic, he decides he's going to make room for his guitar by moving my carry-on, which is a leather weekender smaller than a carry-on suitcase, and move it farther back. I know what the last overhead in FC is full, and I'm not sure what his plan was, but I watched him take it down and start to walk away with it. I carry jewelry when I travel and keep anything I'm not wearing in that bag, and it stays where I can see what happens with it. I told him no, it stays where I put it, and he starts to protest that he didn't want to get gate check his carry on. I simply said, I'm sorry, your carry on is too large, but mine stays. This is where the entitled jerk screwed himself and showed off how important he thinks he is. Had he A, asked whose bag it was and whether he could be moved, and B, offered to move it to the empty overhead, which he was well aware was empty. Okay, if there was an empty overhead, why didn't he move his guitar there? And although smaller, my bag would have fit. It would have been very accommodating, but to treat the elderly woman with total disrespect, disregard the flight attendant's instructions more than once, and assume you can move another passenger's bag without asking, not just move it, but move it backwards. Sorry, you entitled jerk. I hope your guitar is the last bag to come off the carousel. And yes, it will have to be picked up in baggage claim. Um, Not if it's gate checked, it won't. I've gate checked stuff before. They just hand it to you as you leave. When we land, he stands up and takes a full carry-on down from the same overhead, so an even bigger joke for bringing two carry-on items that wouldn't fit under his seat. But then he still tried to move mine instead of his own. Nail polish remover 49. Love Reddit names, they're awesome. At a full flight, my carry-on in the overhead compartment. I'm chilling in my aisle seat. Last few passengers get in. Guy a few rows back starts opening closed compartments. They are all full, so he takes my carry-on out and puts it in the aisle and puts his in my place, closes the compartment and starts to walk away. I stand up blocking him and demand he's put my suitcase back. He claims he left my carry-on in the aisle. Flight attendant makes him take his case down and put mine back. Yay, flight attendant. Geez, you need to watch out for these guys. Yeah, like, don't mess with other people's luggage. If they got there first, you should get there sooner. It's very rude. I mean, move it over a little if you need to, because people should be doing that on their own. Just like people should be nesting carts at the cart corral and taking your cart to the cart corral. Come on. Let's be nice, people. Let's be nice. It makes the world happier. This is from I Don't Work Here Lady, entitled No, He Doesn't Work Here. Yes, no, he doesn't work here. I work in a jewelry store in the mall, and oftentimes on my boyfriend's lunch break, he'll visit me at work. Usually I go on break when I see him, but today I was caught up with a customer and was finishing up when he walked in. At the time, we were kind of busy, so there was this one customer waiting for someone else. I look up to see her staring down my boyfriend, who literally just walked in and was looking at the watches while waiting. At first, I thought maybe he was being loud or something. My customer It wasn't until my customer I was helping looked over at me and asked me, "Does he work here? He's not helping anyone." I kind of half laughed and told her, "No, he doesn't." To be fair, he was wearing a business casual like us, but he works in an office, so that was why. Eventually, my manager helped her, and I went on break and told him what happened. He thought it was funny, but get this. When I came back, my manager told me that the lady apparently complained about him and was embarrassed to be told he didn't actually work here. It wasn't actually anything exciting, but I thought it was funny that people saw this guy in a store, goes towards watches and look around, but still thinks he works here because he's dressed nice enough. What if he was buying a watch? You still gonna think they work there? Oh my goodness. That's crazy. Don't judge people by what they're wearing in a public space. All people that have a red shirt on are not Target employees. Yes, I'm hung up on the red shirts at Target. It's fine. It's fine. Our next one is a best of Redditor updates, entitled, I don't think I read this one. I think my kid's school, one second. Uh, uh, Okay. I think my kid's school lied about calling CPS rather than calling my husband to pick her up. So this original post was September 11th, 2025. So just last month, not a month ago. Our daughter just started school last month, so in August. I told the front office under no circumstances should they call me if something happens to her, especially Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. I work. I'm not allowed to have my phone on my person while working. They were explicitly told to call her father, who works overnight but is home all day as a result. I don't know why they don't just automatically call the father if the mother can't pick up. I mean, they've done that. When my kids were in school, they did that. Like I wasn't always able to answer my phone when I was at work. They'd automatically call my husband. Like first person, mom, second person, husband, dad. After that, there was nobody to call. I get to my lunch break today, and what do I find but 16 missed calls from the school. I assume she's been hospitalized or there's been an active shooter, something horrible that warrant 16 calls to the parent they were told not to call. I called the school frantically before even looking at my voicemail and find out they called me because she threw up. Why did they call dad? Threw up? Blood? Nope, regular throw up. But because I didn't answer, this woman considered it abandonment and made it a call to CPS. No, no, that's crazy. I asked if they called my husband. Nope, just me. And I didn't answer, which isn't allowed. I called him and he went to pick her up. There was a woman sitting in the nurse's office who was also there during orientation night, but she wasn't one of our kids' teachers or administration, so we didn't get introduced to her. As soon as my husband got there, she scurried off and he asked the woman in the front desk who she was and reiterated that she had called someone about your wife abandoning your daughter. This woman needs to be fired. I told him that if it happened again, there would be a lot more serious and we should consider making sure mom's always there when her kids need her. There's no effing way that CPS agent was just hanging around the school at all times and didn't bother to stick around to lecture a parent who abandoned their kid when they showed up. I think they lied because they don't like that dad is supposed to be the primary point of contact. I'm going to follow up with the principal after I've calmed down, of course. What the actual F? Some of comments. Commenter, is it documented that you are unavailable for those 3 days? Or is dad listed as a primary contact? Both. It was written down explicitly when we were filing everything out. He is the primary and I am the secondary with special instruction. Her grandmother is emergency contact and wasn't called. So they didn't even bother calling the first person. They called the second person and they didn't call the third person. Well, BS, man. Top commenter, make sure it's well documented. They need to follow communication orders you give them. They don't get to decide that the mother must answer. I'd threaten a lawsuit if they continue this behavior and make false CPS reports. OOP. It's all in writing and has been since we first started filling out the paperwork. If you mean the woman calling claims she called CPS, unfortunately, I only had that conversation over the phone call and not a text message. Commenter, CPS will provide you with a letter to document the investigation and then another letter to confirm that it was founded or if evidence was found. You can call CPS and ask them to confirm if you're being investigated. If the school doesn't sound exhausted by all means of contact, CPS is way too overburdened to send someone to investigate this. It sounds like BS to scare you. OOP, I'm almost positive is this there's no way an actual CPS person wouldn't have at least spoken to my husband when he showed up, whether they really believed this was abandonment or not. That person was not a CPS person. That was just an employee that happened to be available to sit with the kid in the nurse's office because you don't have nurses at school anymore. Which is crazy. We should have nurses at schools. I think all kinds of stuff happens at school. All kinds of accidents, not just on purpose stuff. Commenter. I'm willing to bet it was a school counselor or social worker. If they did complain, CPS has 72 hours to follow up if substantiated. OOP, that would make more sense. They definitely work there and aren't a direct teacher, and the counselors are split up based on student names. So we met hers, but I know there are at least five of them. Yeah, it's probably counselor. To an idiot commenter saying OOP should have had her phone regardless of the rules. I'm including one comment from OOP because I liked it. OOP, no, it is not allowed on my person, period. Nothing with a battery that isn't distributed by the company itself and our assigned pagers do not allow outside calls. You can look at your phone on your breaks. That's what people did before cell phones. Do you think kids were just keeling over in the nurse's office because the home phone wasn't picked up and the office was too stupid to try anyone else? Later in the comment thread, no job is too important not to let you have your phone for your kid. There are all kinds of jobs that you should not have your phone. I think we read this. When the battery and phone signal could disrupt the equipment or cause excess static and cost to tens of thousands of dollars in damages, especially when that person has other family members who should be called first. Update September 18th, 2025, 1 week later. First off, thanks for everyone for their supportive comments, especially Bijan Beauty Katie for the email template. Editor's note. Link to that here. Oh, that's nice. There's a template for letters to whom it may concern. It was very nice, although I did start off by sending something less confrontational. To answer most common questions, the school had documentation to call my mother, my husband, or his mother ever since we enrolled them there. I double checked our computer portal with the school website, and it's listed that way, including I can't be contacted for anything that might be time sensitive. I cannot have my phone on my person while I'm at work, period. My work has an automatic answering machine for public calls, so even if the school did call them, I wouldn't get the message for probably another half hour at absolute best. Even then, I work about 30 to 40 minutes away if traffic is good. Yes, I'm in a more traditional area, although it's never been too huge of a deal besides now to having to commute to the city for work. This is not going to be a super dramatic update. I'm sure a lot of people were hoping for. Sorry? That's what she says, sorry. Okay, with a question mark. First off, I did not jump straight to getting an attorney to threaten them. I did call and ask a local family law firm, and the person I spoke to told me that if we didn't have to go as far as suing, it would look better to try and exhaust options on my own before threatening legal action. But they would be happy to look over any communications between us, and we could CC them on any emails and ask me to get information on the potential neglect/abandonment case. I could while they looked into it as well. Attorneys will start working for you before you pay them a lot of times. I started by sending a follow-up email to the principal and CC'd the superintendent and law person on it, asking for confirmation that they checked our file for who to call, more details on exactly who was spoken to at CPS, any case numbers, and the name of the person who was sitting alone with my sick daughter and did not speak to my husband or identify themselves, which is kind of rude. You should at least tell them who you are and why you're there. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, the principal was out of town for several days with some family emergency. After a day with no reply, the superintendent emailed me directly asking for more details, and I sent him an email outlining exactly what happened from our perspective. Screenshots from my phone, my husband's phone, and my mother's phone, his mother's phone, showing the phone calls and the lack of them. Monday, the principal finally got back to us, and we got some answers. The woman sitting with her daughter was one of the counselors, not the one assigned to her. See, yeah, that's what I figured. No one actually contacted CPS. There's no open case about us. That was a straight up lie. People, why you lying? Why you lying like that? The woman who told me she had actually called the school's social worker, not CPS, who then sent the counselor to sit with her instead of, telling her that it was ridiculous or going himself. The counselor claims she was under the impression that I was just keeping our daughter company until the parents arrived since there was no nurse that day. But if that was the case, she should have at least said hello, right? Yes, she should have. Definitely should have. As of now, been suspended pending investigation. Good. Obviously, these are not all of the details, but this is the gist of it. I'm sure a lot of people were hoping to hear I sued the school for defamation, harassment, threatening, whatever else, and gotten that stupid woman fired for being a misogynistic bitch. This is what we've got. Actually, she should be fired. She should be fired because she didn't follow directions, and that could really cause someone definite harm if she did that in the wrong circumstance. She needs to be following the directions that are on the parent's plan. Some of OOP's comments. Commenter, it sounds like the woman's behavior will be doing all of the work getting her reprimanded or fired. Hopefully fired. Commenter, downvoted but included for OOP's answer. I'm confused because in your first story you said that the woman sitting your daughter took off, but that was the front desk who lectured your husband about you abandoning your child. It sounds to me like both women need a level of discipline around the fact that the fathers can be the first line caregivers. No, I said the woman sitting her with her was one we didn't recognize, who was not a teacher or administration, but whom we'd seen at orientation, not that she was the one that called us. Commenter, if she has a problem with male caregivers, why not just call mother-in-law? OOP, my only guess is she has a gender neutral, somewhat masculine name is listed as grandparent in the checkbox, so maybe they're assuming she was a man. Oh, jeez. Yeah, Alex can't be called because she might be a man. Commenter, who got suspended, the counselor lady or the lady at the desk? OOP, desk, sorry. I kind of feel like the counselor should have gotten some kind of that too for going along with this BS. I'm not privy to every single detail of disciplinary action. Editor's note, Mark conclude because OOP got answered and found out what happened. Designated throwaway says that lady must hate single dads. Yeah, yeah. My dad was my only parent at certain times in my life, so yeah. Whirly Might says that lady must hate. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, call the dad. Mom might not be available. Call dad, especially if dad is the one you're supposed to call. Men can take care of their children too. It's called parenting. Jeez, oh, pizzas, people. Come on. Next, we have Am I Overreacting? AIO, 4 months pregnant, and my husband is catfishing my ex to test me. We do have something to share. Okay, and this says, hey, do you ever think about what we had? I'm assuming that's from the the husband. Oh, what? Why are you asking me this now? I miss how easy things were with you and way different from now. Please, why do this matter now? Aren't you married? I wonder if I made the right choice. Don't say that. You don't know what that does to me. I would have run to you if things were different. Do you still want me? So so you still want me? Always did and always will. I mean, if what you are saying, I mean, we can meet, I'll come to you. Are you really serious about me? Yeah, I keep looking at your pictures time to time. If we meet, what's up and then? Then we stop pretending IG. No more what ifs, just you and me like we used to be. You would really want that after so many, so many years. See what I mean, people? I never forget you. I imagine about us all the time. This is weird. I'm so confused. Okay. So she says, I don't even know where the F to begin. I'm 4 months pregnant. Instead of feeling safe and cared for, feel like I'm living with a stranger. No worse with a manipulative coward. Last night I found out my husband was texting my ex from my phone, pretending to be me while he was asleep. Oh, okay. Let that sink in. The timing of the messages lined up perfectly when I was knocked out. He wasn't just snooping. This a-hole was baiting my ex into saying things no married woman should ever have to see on her own damn phone. And the worst part, my ex responded. Not just some casual "what's up," but pouring his heart out like an idiot, saying he never forgot me, that he imagines about us that we meet up just once. I literally sat there at 6:34 this p.m., staring at my phone, hands shaking, realizing my husband had engineered this entire sick little drama behind my back. Yeah, that's not cool, man. That is not cool. I always thought I was marrying a wise, calm man. That's how he acted in the 6 months before marriage. A total gentleman, but now he's turned into this insecure, paranoid little boy who plays twisted, fed up games. And it's not just him. I think she meant effed up games, not fed up. And it's not just him. His whole damn family is cut from the same cloth, sneaky, cunning, toxic. Every word they said about being good people feels like an effing joke now. Hmm. I can relate to that. I got pregnant partly to make him feel secure to build a real family instead. Oh my gosh, it's the stupidest reason to get pregnant. Oh my gosh. Pregnancies and children do not fix your marital problems, people. It only exacerbates them. Don't have a kid unless you want a kid and are in a stable, healthy relationship. And instead, I feel trapped. Instead of love, I get control. Instead of trust, I get betrayal. Instead of safety, I get mind games from a man who's supposed to protect me. Where's my red flag, man? And the irony, he has the audacity to say it's a loyalty test. Loyalty test? You insecure piece of crap. I married you, I'm carrying your baby, and you think the way to test my loyalty is to impersonate me and stir up crap with my ex. Now I don't even know who the hell to trust. I don't even know if I should bring an innocent child into the circus of lies and manipulation. How the hell do I raise a baby in a family where respect, trust, and decency doesn't even exist? You can't. That was your first mistake. Why would you do that? All I ever wanted was a real partner, a man, a protector, someone I could lean on while carrying his child. Instead, I get a paranoid, toxic, insecure boy who thinks playing mind games is what marriage is. Honestly, when I look at him now, I don't even see my husband. I see a stranger and I'm disgusted to share a bed with. Oh, come on. There had to be signs. You said his whole family's like this. Why'd you marry that family? This hot camera from baobab fruit. I didn't know baobabs had fruit. Okay. This is wrong on so many levels, not the least for your ex, who shouldn't be dragged into all of this. Leaving that in the middle, as you pointed out, you're married to an insecure, conniving coward. In my opinion, no, you should not want to bring a child into this dynamic because it'll learn that this is okay behavior. Edit because of how the comments further below. OP, you're in a treacherous waters here. Instead of a breakup, or if he decides to just be an a-hole, your husband now has screenshots of you communicating with your ex trying to get back together. Some friends may believe that it was him. Others certainly won't because it's an insane tale to spin. Watch yourself. Edit 2 because of more comments. Start recording these interactions, archive these screenshots, and consider getting some legal counsel. Think long and hard about whether or not you want to bring a child into this family union. Consider leaving him altogether. Yeah, this is insanity. Why would you do that? I don't understand people. I don't understand people. They're weird. People are weird. Not in a good way either. I mean, I'm weird, but in a good way. This one is from Entitled People. Entitled. Former partner who quit halfway now wants to share of the profits because they had the idea too. A while back, I started a company with someone I considered a friend. We agreed to work and invest together, but halfway through, they completely backed out. No money, no effort, no input at all. So I decided to push on alone almost 3 years and eventually managed to stabilize the country. Need a country to stabilize. Yes, I love Weird Al. Eventually managed to stabilize the company after years of hard work. Now that things are finally doing well, this person's suddenly reaching out and demanding a share of the profits, saying, "Give me my money." Their reasoning, they claim they shared the idea too and have something to do with my success. Is it in writing? Is it in writing that you deserve this money? because if it's not in writing, you don't deserve nothing. You don't deserve anything anyway. You didn't even help with it. It's frustrating because they weren't there during a single struggle, didn't invest a single coin, and now expect a payout just because of the business idea came up once in conversation. Nope, nope, that's not how that works unless you did something to um, tie yourself to that idea. You don't deserve a thing. This guy did all the work, and all you're going to do is sit back and say, "Give me money." No. Some people really do vanish when it's time to build, then only show up when it's time to collect. Yep. Oh, there's a new George and Mandy tonight. Sorry, that was the ad. I love George and Mandy. It's awesome. You haven't checked it out. It's really cute. It's a good old fashioned type sitcom. It's really cute. Lieutenant Lily White could be me. Uh, unless they own shares, who cares? They have no shares at all. So tell him you'll double his stake. Tom Askins says my first laugh out loud today. My thanks. Yeah, we like big people laugh. It's awesome. Yeah, yeah. Double his stake. 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. You get 0. You did none of the work. You got to work to earn stuff. Unless somebody, ooh, yep, that was coffee. Unless somebody gives it something to you out of the kindness of their own heart, you can't demand stuff. This is from AITAH. My husband said if I went ahead with surgery, he wanted a separation, and it has an update. Okay, so I'm gonna go find the original. Ah, shoot, it's been banned. The account's been banned. Well, that stinketh. So yesterday I was on here complaining that my husband and my gut feeling were right after seeing the reactions here that my husband's crossing boundary and trying to control how my body looks. So this morning I told him. He sat silently and listened. He said that he wasn't trying to control me or coerce me, but at the same breath he loved my body, and if I'm not taking his opinions into consideration, he knows that I won't care about his opinion. He would not look at me the same or touch me. I said that I didn't want to be married to someone who doesn't touch me, and that he said we won't be married. Quote, but remember that I love you and you are breaking up with a man who loves you because of superficial changes I want to do on my body. He would stay for the recovery and then he moves out after Christmas. I said I was going to go ahead with my surgery. There's no close quote on that. I said I was going to go ahead with my surgery and he just shook his head and later cried in the garden. I can't believe him. It sounds final like he's been thinking about divorce for a while. I've been waiting for this surgery for 2.5 years because of how busy this doctor is. And my preliminary surgery is in November. I have consultation soon. I'm going to head with my plans and he can go on with his. According to him, I am free to choose what to do with my body. He is free to leave when it doesn't suit him anymore. And he's correct. You are free to do what you want to your body. That is exactly correct. Bodily autonomy, self determination. He also has self determination. And if he doesn't like it, he is doing the right thing and breaking up with you because that was not in the cards for him. P.S. Many people are asking about the surgery. It's breast reduction. And no, I'm not doing it for medical reasons since I have no back pain. I'm not that big to have these pains. It's purely cosmetic. This is the most important part of my beef with him. I know you mean well by bringing up health benefits, but this is about my right to control how I look. He 100% would have supported me if it was for medical reasons because he has in the past. Thanks. Okay. I mean, he likes how you look now. You don't. You have a disagreement that's going to end your marriage. You're not doing it for medical reasons. You're doing it because you don't know how do you know you're going to like it after you do it? How do you know that? You don't. But I mean, it's your right to do it. It is your right to do it. And I get it. I thought about it myself. But My husband might have problems with that, and I love him, and I want him to be happy too. And it doesn't bother me. So, although he doesn't like how I dress, like, would you like me to get a breast reduction so I can wear clothes? Yeah, everybody's saying it's got to be more than just a breast reduction, like it's his last straw. I mean, this is just an impasse that people have. It happens sometimes. It happens sometimes. I just got a notification on my phone. Hold on a second. Oh, Lauren says she's not feeling well today, so everybody keep Lauren in their thoughts. She's usually here cheering me on. Are entitled people. Guy tried to take my reserved theater seat and then got kicked out. I went to a movie with assigned seating, and when I got in my row, a man was sitting in my seat. I showed him my ticket, and he said, "Yeah, but this one has a better view, so just sit somewhere else." No, you sit somewhere else. You bought a different ticket for a different seat. The usher came over, checked his ticket, and it was for the next day. He argued, saying, "Well, I'm already here." The usher called the manager, and instead of getting to see the movie early, he was escorted out with no refund and not allowed to come back, I hope. Oh my goodness. The whole wrong day? Like, what the heck, dude? What you doing, dude? The whole wrong day. It's please go see a doctor because there's something wrong with you. Part ad. Oh, we've run into them before. Says just sit somewhere else. No, you made the effort to pay for that seat. He could have just sat somewhere else and seen the movie the next day. Entitled equals stupid. Edit spelling. Why would you do this? So weird. People are so weird. Okay. This is from Mother-in-Laws in Hell, and it's a follow-up. So let's hope the original is still there. Cross fingers. Oh, it is. Yay. Okay, from Mother-in-Laws from Hell. It's called My Mother-in-Law Went No Contact. I Really Need Advice. um, Going no contact does work both ways. Usually it's the kids, though. My mother-in-law was practically a stranger when I had my baby. I had postpartum preeclampsia and hemorrhage with a C-section. That's dangerous. Terrifying, actually. Me, my husband, and her did 3 shift schedule with the baby. I felt weak and sick and was in a very bad place. Long story short, she did hard work. I don't know, I'm throwing her a bone, but still repeatedly repeatedly neglectful to the point where I had to tell my husband I needed her to leave. There was an incident where I caught her feeding him in the bathtub while having a panic attack. Was the bathtub full? I'm confused. That was it for me. He gently booted her, and we refused to leave her alone with him after that. Him being the baby, I assume. I feel like it was a nightmare. After she left, I swear my son and I were basically attached to each other, snuggling nonstop for months. That's how it should be. I'm so full of regrets during that time. I feel haunted. Oh, don't feel like that. You didn't know. It was probably a first time mom. Definitely a first time mom. You needed you just needed better support. I felt trapped in my decision to have mother-in-law all around like that postpartum. I kept telling myself to be strong. My baby needs to bond with other people because I may not live. I thought I was going to die and had nightmares every night for a while. I hoped if I lived to gain some family connections. That sounds awful. It also sounds like PPD, postpartum depression, like hit her all of a sudden. Yeah, she needed help and maybe some meds. We didn't become close, just texted pics occasionally. A year later, mother-in-law and father-in-law visited. We hung out and went to restaurants for such a week. It was fine. I felt I felt like okay, the past was effed up, but we can have a normal relationship going forward. Apparently, my husband set some basic time, space, respect boundaries with her, and she had been violating them. So before they left town, he invited both his parents to therapy. He and his mom ended up arguing immediately, like 5 minutes in, according to him, because he called her communication dysfunctional and she left the room. That was in July. She hasn't contacted us since, even through an ER trip, even when my husband texted her a video of my son taking his first steps. He called her on his birthday, and his dad called him and said she didn't want to talk to us. I just don't get it. Some people have very strong reactions to minor things. They should be getting help for it, and they just refuse, and that's just how they are, and there's nothing you can do about it. I just don't get it. Recently, he mentioned something she said. My mom said my favorite color was red as a kid. I asked where they had been talking. He said they had a family group chat, and she started talking to him in there. He was very nonchalant. We go to couples therapy, and he seems to underreact to discussing her. Hmm. We had a session about her behavior, and he said she's done no contact to certain family members. She's the problem. She said that she expects people to just pretend it never happened. He said he isn't giving in, but it sure looks like that from what he's doing to me. Now we get a call yesterday that his grandfather, mother's father, is dying and we may need to visit. I really don't know what to do. I want to reach out first, but according to him, you'll have to eventually because she won't. And he gets very upset at the idea of us having a bad relationship. I'm at a loss. I feel like this bad relationship has been thrust upon me. I have never ever done anything other than smile and nod at her. Everything from dire situations to comments about my weight, and I smile and basically gentle parented her away from conflict. But inside, I'm so angry and hurt. I can't even imagine how I'm supposed to deal with this in person to navigate this situation. My husband has no answers. He's like, I know it's not normal, but I'm just used to it. I just ignore what she is doing it, but keep talking to her. Our kid needs grandparents. Not one like that. That kid does not need a grandparent that's just going to cut him off at the drop of a hat. His dad doesn't talk to me either, but he never has. What's wrong with dad? What's wrong with father-in-law? I know this is going to result between my husband as a fight. Ugh. I know this is going to result in a fight between my husband and I because I really feel like we've been treated badly and I'm so hurt and angry. I can't repress it forever, but I don't know how to move forward. He's just like so casual around her, going no contact like that because he's used to it. It's normal for him. I'm going to be coming in offensive and making him defensive. I can already see that. But I don't want this in my life or my son's life, and I didn't create this effing situation. Like, I've never dealt with someone like this, and I really don't know what to do. Popular Jaguar. Popular. Yeah, I'm singing a lot today. He knows his mom very well. Evidently, this is her normal. Exactly. This is normal for them. They know how to navigate this. And you're going to have to learn, or you're not going to have a relationship at all, which is fine if that's your choice. Key here is don't participate in her game. When she's had enough of not talking to you, she will contact you. She secretly gets a kick out of scrambling over her not talking to you and wanting you to jump through hoops to get her to talk to her. Her joy is your reaction. Don't give it to her. She will find that she is missing out on her grandchild. Exactly. Exactly. Tell your husband send out any information. Let your husband send out any information. If you are in a group chat with other family members, post pictures or videos there. Don't send to her. She's wanting to punish you and your husband for daring to give boundaries and have you give her what she wants. When she talks to you again, she will, as this is her MO, respond back as though nothing happened. Don't say we missed you or bring up that she missed out on anything. Just talk to her like you had lunch yesterday. This will be her this she will be her hurt game didn't work. She will be hurt her game didn't work. Maybe she will realize that her tantrum didn't get the results she was hoping for. If you want to jiggle her cage or picture or video with LO with your family or an aunt giggling or having fun, will make her realize she's cutting her own nose off. And Saint Nick, who has a Santa, it looks like Santa. His avatar looks like Santa. It's cute. Please read this, OP. The fact that your head is spinning means she's will, winning to her. This is a great counter. It is. Like, don't, when she does contact you, and she will, because that's what they do, experienced it myself, you can either act like nothing happened or you initiate a no contact, depending on how bad it is. I wouldn't let this go on for a long time. I would determine what she's going to do and then react on that. Um, it's kind of like gray rocking, or when people start talking about something you don't want to talk about, you leave the room. Um, Eventually, they stop. If somebody's discussing something or using words that you don't like or whatever, you don't have to comment on it. Just leave the room. Eventually, they'll figure out that you're leaving the room every time that comes up. Okay, so follow up on mother-in-law going non-contact. Yes, it's a husband problem. According to my husband, she had no contact in DMs, occasionally responsive in family group chat, and the last thing she told him was she was mourning the relationship with our son and prepared to never see him again. Yikes. Okay, Grandma, is that what you want? We had a video call with his dying grandpa last night. It was enlightening. Neither of his parents addressed me or talked to me at all, but they were both cooing and fussing over my son like nothing was wrong, saying, "See you soon. Do you remember me? We love you," etc. His mother stayed off camera cooing along, but then she referenced some pics from daycare that she saw that day and asked for his head measurements to make him a winter hat. So, one, my husband has been sending her pics of our son and talking to her daily in real time. Two, apparently, some point she stopped mourning the relationship, is planning to have one with our son again. My husband didn't tell me any of this. Definitely a husband problem. He should be in your court. So it seems they are arranging a future family dynamic between them. My husband and son, that doesn't involve me at all. That is not right. I think I have to put a stop to it. I really don't want my son to see me treated like this, and think it's normal. I don't want him to have grandparents who dole out conditional love and gifts while behaving this way towards his parents and eventually to him. I need to decide what my boundaries, and I will take my husband to therapy and lay them down. I'm thinking no contact with me until she apologizes. No contact, that isn't the bare minimum unless she agrees to a therapy session with me and my husband. She won't, but I obviously can't trust them in private. Very limited monitored contact with our son once a year if they choose to visit, since they are thankfully long distance. We will not visit them or leave our son alone with them ever. Irish Spice says three-way therapy session never work. Your husband needs to agree to therapy with you to find out why he thinks it's okay to lie and sneak behind your back. Mm-hmm. He may have ulterior motives, so I wouldn't trust him right now either. If he refuses to go, you have to plan your next steps carefully. I'm so sorry to hear that this is happening to you. Another one says, friend, he's planning to leave you. He already gray rocked you. That answer, the elevator says, agreed. When the lying, gray rocking, and stonewalling start, divorce is not far behind. It might already be too late for therapy or counseling. I would hope not, but you need to be prepared. Start looking for a good attorney now and start a binder with details as much as you can get on everything what the enemy camp is doing. You're going to need it when custody comes up. Just make sure you keep it where you can find it. You don't want to give them any forewarning, just like they weren't giving you any. Yeah, it's really sad. Really, really, really sad. Craziness. Yeah, what is this husband's deal? And why does he love his mom more than he loves his wife and his kid? Um, Chances are this people will start, if they haven't already. Well, they haven't already because the baby's just a baby. But they may start disparaging her to him, which is not allowed, by the way. Parental alienation is not allowed. So don't be doing that. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I try to go live at least 4 times a week, usually around 10 in the morning. Why 10? Because it's brunch. It's brunch. Our brunch might turn into afternoons. Who knows? So I'm having a hard time. If you have a story of your own or one came you across in the wild, you can email Biddy Brunch Bunch, all one word, at gmail.com, and I might read it for our brunch. Put it in the title as submission. Um, I can also email you a reminder in the morning with the link for that day's episode, biddybrunchbunch at gmail.com, and put in there subscribe. And I will do that for you. So we have our confession from our confession. I threw a large rock at a car window for blocking the only path on my way home. Yeah, that's not cool. Vandalism is never the answer. Vandalism is violence. My workplace is about an hour's walk from where I live. On the way, I pass through a narrow pedestrian path that runs alongside a dual carriageway. This sounds like this is not in the US. The houses there have large front parking spaces where cars are parked. Honestly, I don't know how many people manage with the speeding traffic, but that's beside the point. I walk to work to get my steps in, but for about a month, an SUV has been blocking the pedestrian path. Because of this, I've had to step out into the dual carriageway just to get past, which is extremely dangerous sometimes. I barely have enough time to cross safely. One day I had enough. As I approached the SUV, I noticed a large rock on the ground. I picked it up and threw it as hard as I could at the car. Since then, the SUV hasn't been parked there in the mornings. Yeah, it's not cool. You could get caught doing that if they have cameras around, and then you're going to be in big trouble, mister. Yeah, no, don't do that. Yeah, it's unsafe, but can't you walk around the other way? Walk around the other way. I mean, if they have parking, there should be room. Usually parked far enough away from the car in front of you that you can scoot in between cars. That would be much safer. And yeah, it's annoying as heck when people park in the walking space. Don't do that either, because that makes you the a-hole. Okay, we got another one. Oh, okay. This is another one from Mother-in-laws from Hell, with an update. Mother-in-law texted. I don't know what that means. Husband said his parents want to take our 5-year-old on an outing without us. Why not? Why can't they take you? I said no. Why not? Why not? Why can't? He's 5. You don't trust the grandparents to take care of your kid? My husband threw an attempt at guilt tripping and asked how he's supposed to explain this to his parents. I told him there's no explanations ever needed. Simply tell them it doesn't work for us. He said it doesn't work for me specifically. That's why I told him that we had almost no child services called. That's when I told him that we almost had child services called on us. He asked because of you. I said no while glaring at him. He got in the car and went to work. I'm confused. He messaged me asking what I told my therapist for them to consider that option. I sent him a wall of text examples. It was two uh, it was 2 mornings ago, and he has yet to discuss it with me. He just happens to consistently find himself busy. Our child did not go with them on an outing. Our anniversary came. I got a group message from my mother-in-law to myself and my husband. Happy anniversary, husband and OP. Hope you have a wonderful day. OP. I honestly don't remember calling you that unacceptable name, but I am deeply sorry and wish you would forgive me. I want us to be a family again. Please give me another chance. Love you both. So she's apologized. Keep in mind, she rarely has ever messaged me my entire relationship with my husband. Thoughts? Some mother-in-laws don't have close relationship with the daughter-in-laws. Sometimes that's on the daughter-in-law. Sometimes that's on the mother-in-law. Added to clarify something, my in-laws have never threatened to call CPS as far as I know. My new therapist supervisor contacted me after a second session with my therapist regarding concern for my child safety and my mother-in-law's care. I would like to know more about that. I can't. Ugh. After I clarified that I have set firm boundaries regarding my husband always being present when they visit my son, the therapist and supervisor agreed with that decision and stated they will not be contacting CPS at this time because I'm doing what is necessary to keep my son safe. Oh, so the therapist was going to call CPS. Okay, what did she do? I am so confused. Update. I messaged Happy Annie back and forth with my husband, privately, obviously. I said, I'll see you at home, and he asked, what's wrong? I replied, I feel upset your mom made our anniversary all about her. What she wants attached to a non apology that dismisses her behavior as something I made up. It's not what she said. Like, honestly, this is silly. Our reaction's silly. He replied, just try to ignore it. Focus on what brought us together today and not make things difficult for us. I expressed to him that I am trying, but it hurts. I'm tired of his FOO playing. I don't know what FOO means. Playing games with me, him, and our marriage. My assumptions of how Thanksgiving is going to go at his sister's place. Further update. I get home from work where my mother was watching my son. She informs me my father in law stopped by with a card for my wedding anniversary. My mom is super empathetic and was a victim of her own mom's covert narcissistic nature. My mom feels bad for my father in law, believes his sadness is genuine, which I do too, but he enables his wife and daughter's behavior in his own ways. I reminded my mom of that. My father in law all but begged my mom for her and my dad to have a sit down with them. I told my mom it's their mom and dad's choice, but be mindful they are pawns being used to create a triangle. They will likely be asked to talk to me or tell them how to make me start to talk to them again. My mom told me she is going to talk to my dad, but she doesn't think she can even look at my mother in law in the eye anymore. Knowing what my mom knows, she doesn't want to be around my mother in law, but she might be more inclined to only sit down with my father in law with my dad too. She also told my father in law has tried to reach out to my parents many times over the months in an effort to sit down and talk to them and mend their friendship, but they've ignored their attempts. My parents are appalled by how they treated me, their own son, and what they found out regarding my mother in law treated their grandson. Sigh. So now I'll need to relay this to my husband when he gets home. I wonder what she did. Seems like there are other posts. Oh, there's a lot of them. I'm not reading all that. Sorry. I'll read that later and give you an update tomorrow. I'll leave that. Okay. This one is from Oh No Consequences. OOP dumps his fiance for his high school crush in particular. Oh, that's the same one. We already did that one. Like I said, this is hodgepodge. Some of them overlap. We'll go on to best of Redditor updates. Me, 27 female, with my boyfriend, 50 male. Now, of 3 months, his kid warned me about him. Red flag. Maybe if you were 30 but 37, still no. Me, 37-year-old female, with my boyfriend, 50 male, of 3 months. His kid warned me about him. Red flag. I have been dating Jesse for about 3 months. It's been a bit of a whirlwind romance. Jesse is the kind of guy I always wanted, confident and smart. It makes me feel like a princess. The Smex is great, and I feel like we have a deep connection. Yeah, because Smex is great because he's got a lot of experience. Last Friday, Jesse and I went out to and ran into his son Julian, 19, at the bar. Julian shouldn't have been there as he is underage, so I assume he had a fake ID. Jesse was excited to see him, but Julian seemed like he didn't want to see Jesse at all. It was very awkward. Later, while Jesse was talking to someone he knew from work, Julian approached me and told me, "He'll get tired of you. He won't care about you anymore and just see you as something he has to spend money on, and then he'll find something new. He always does." He said he was sorry and left the bar. I didn't know how to respond, so I just talked to Jesse. He told me how his ex-wife and stepdaughters had poisoned Julian up against him. I've always known Jesse to be very generous, so I don't believe the money part is true. But I do know that Jesse hardly ever spends time with his son. He says Julian won't answer his calls or texts and avoids him. Jesse also works a significant amount and finds it difficult to balance his time. But how do I know that if this is a red flag or not? This kid could have a warped perception of his father, but I can't help but feel bad for Julian. He really seems sad at the bar. Commenter one, Julia's mother is the ex-wife. That would be pretty messed up to me if a biological child sold his stepmother and stepsisters over his father, and that would be a serious red flag to me. OOP, she is his mother. His sisters are half siblings. Commenter number two. I'm always surprised just how biased this thread is against relationships with age gaps. It's not like you're 18 and he's preying on your inexperience. You're a grown woman. There's nothing inherently wrong with that age gap in your relationship. Your brain not fully developed until you're 30. Anyway, never let somebody else into your relationship. This kid clearly has an agenda and he probably doesn't have your best interest at heart. Maybe he does, though. This is supported by the fact that Jesse's excitement to see his son only went one way. There's bitterness there and it's not coming from Jesse. Keep Julian's words in mind in case you see any other red flags, like how did Jesse's previous relationships go? But don't let those words supersede your gut feeling about the relationship. Or maybe Julian has a very good reason to be bitter, and he's right. Go either way. I'm, OP, I'm not worried about the age difference. I'm surprised by the responses toward it. Them running into each other was weird. Jesse was excited, but he didn't ask why Julie was drinking underage at the bar. Do you have proof that Julian was drinking? It didn't seem to bother him. Julian drove afterwards as well and didn't seem drunk, but I was surprised. Jesse didn't say anything. Who said Julian was drinking? You can go to a bar and not drink. He also didn't seem to notice that Julian seemed awkward running into us. Until I mentioned what Julian told me, he didn't seem to have any idea that the encounter was so awkward. I just felt like it could go either way so easily. Julian doesn't seem like a bad kid, but Jesse doesn't seem like a bad guy either. Does it have to be one or the other? Probably. Commenter 3. He's 50 years old and chasing after a 27-year-old. Listen to his son. Someone who feels too good to be true usually is. Yep. Commenter 4. You're 27, he is 50. He's with you because you're significantly younger, have a better body, and a higher sex drive than women his own age. Open your eyes. Well, that's not necessarily true. If Julian were 12, then maybe don't believe him, but he's 19. Had his mother poisoned him against Jesse, then Julian would have come to that realization by now that his mom was lying. Not necessarily. That can take several more years for that to happen. Update May 5th, 2016, 3 months later. Update me, 27 female, with my boyfriend, 20 male of 3 months. Kid warned me, red flag. It's been a couple of months since my last post. Thanks for all the advice, even though it was tough to hear. I ended up deciding to move forward with the relationship, but kept an eye out for any other red flags. To backtrack, early in our relationship, I got a text from a friend of mine that he had seen Jesse at the local strip club. I spoke to Jesse about it, and he said he didn't consider it cheating because he didn't get lap dances or touch the dancers. Yeah, going to a strip club isn't cheating. It's not cheating unless you have a specific um agreement in place that he won't do that. It's not cheating. It's silly to think that it is. I let him know that I would let it slide, but in the future, I'm not okay with him going to strip clubs without talking about it with me first. He agreed. But I kept noticing he would be out working late. He told me he had an emergency, flood, and had to work late. I ended up seeing him at a gas station that I was driving by. I stopped to talk to him. He said he had just gotten off work, but he smelled like cigarettes and alcohol, and his clothes weren't dirty like they typically are when he works flood damage. I also noticed he was very protective of his work phone. He leaves his other cell phone out all the time. But when I asked to use his work phone to look something up, he basically told me no to go get my phone charging in the other room. It all just spent out for I snooped. I got up in the middle of the night when I was staying at his place and looked through both phones. Well, at least they weren't living together within 3 months. On his work phone, I found text to escorts and strippers. Now, escort, um, yeah, if you're talking to them outside of being at the strip club, that that is a red flag and potentially cheating. On his other cell, I found ton of texts to his ex-wife who he promised me he didn't talk to anymore unless it was about Julian. Apparently, she had just started dating a month ago, and he absolutely shredded her for it. He said some very cruel things like, "You must have found a guy who loves fat asses if he'll be seen with you." She never replied, as far as I can tell. Looking at those texts, I knew that any future with Jesse was going to end like this. Probably shouldn't snoop on phones, but if you have a reason to, then yeah. Don't just for snooping, but if you think something's up, then definitely snoop. I also saw that he never messaged Julian. What's worse, their text feed is Julian reaching out to every couple of months and being ignored. Poor Julian. One text from a few months ago was Julian telling him that his band had a gig and asking if he would come. I remember that weekend. Me and Jesse stayed in that night and had a bunch of sex. He never mentioned his son had a show. I feel sick. I went online and bought 10 copies of his band's EP a few days later. She's a good girl. She's a good girl and she deserves better than this guy. In the end, I decided just to ghost him. He obviously had no respect for our relationship, and I felt I didn't owe him anything. When he was at work, I got all of my things out of his apartment and left a note. Just wrote that his family was right about him and not to contact me again. He texted me later that he had an emergency and had to work late. He obviously hadn't seen my note, and I just didn't respond. The next day, he found the note and started messaging me about it. I decided to take a page from his ex wife's book and ignore him. As the text moved on, he realized he was in serious As the text moved on, he realized I was serious. The messages started getting hateful, things I don't care to repeat. I blocked his number. Should have blocked it first. There is a spider web outside shining in the light, and it's distracting me because, ADD. It's really weird. It keeps like flickering in my peripheral vision. It is disturbing for me to think about what a cruel and vicious person he ended up being. If Julian hadn't talked to me at that bar, how much longer would it have taken me to see this side of him? I also have this weird guilty feeling that I'm a homewrecker, even though Jesse obviously wrecked his home himself. I really thought of me and Jesse as having a potential long term relationship. It hurts to have those hopes crushed. I'm not getting any younger. I got a lot of comments in my last post about the age gap. I'm not really interested in that. I know several couples with significant age gaps. I'm a grown woman, not a teenager, and I can choose to date someone older. Hopefully, it won't be an a-hole the next time. Sure, you can choose to. That doesn't mean he wasn't using you, because obviously he was. Edit, thanks for teaching me a lesson. This is painful for me, and I won't be responding to any more comments or PMs. Thank you. Relevant comments. Commenter one, good on you for getting out. Think about dropping a note to Julian so you can thank him for the warning. The kid might feel better knowing his warning helped someone for once. Besides, it can be validating when dealing with an abusive a-hole to have somebody else go, "Yep, he's a jerk, all right, and you were right." Oh, OP, I didn't consider it, but I feel like I'm probably the last person he wants to hear from. No, you should definitely tell Julian. Tell Julian thank you. You owe him a thank you. Commenter number two, the age difference is a big thing. Do you relate to someone who's 23 years older than you? If you intend to be with this person for the foreseeable future, you have to consider that in 10 years, when you are not even 40, he will be 60. Yes, you're a grown woman, but why so much older? There's a reason people are making comments. But you're right, it's your life. You're not interested in advice. Don't take it or ask for it. Oh, OP, I obviously don't see myself with him in the future because I broke off with him. Yeah, but you didn't rule out dating another 50-year-old. I think she didn't get pregnant or something. Top comment is Hobbit Lifestyle. pizzas. Julian did OOP a huge favor. I wonder how many girlfriends Jesse dumped like that. What an awful man. Yep. Yep, for sure. Poor Julian. Poor Julian having to deal with this as a dad. I feel bad for him. And OP owes him a thank you. A thank you just for putting the nugget of doubt in her mind. Just a nugget. It's all it took. It was just that nugget of doubt. And we are going to end on I Don't Work Here, Lady, entitled I Guess We're Both Working Here, but I Don't Think I Can Help You. I love this sub. I'm here for it. I have at least a dozen examples from my long time in real. Ugh. I love this sub and I'm here for it. I have at least a dozen examples from my long time in retail that I'm sharing every now and then, playing the long game. Here's one that has nothing to do with a store and actually made me feel pretty special. I host afternoons on a small market radio station. Our local PD has just cracked an arson case, and we're hosting a press conference about it. I didn't have anything else to do, and I live walking distance from the PD, so I went down there with the idea of live streaming the press conference on our station's Facebook account, then running back home and cutting up the audio to play on air. I figured I might ask a question or two and maybe get my voice on a bigger radio stations or even a TV story. That's self-serving, but okay. I immediately felt overmatched and underdressed in that room. A bunch of well-dressed TV news reporters and cameraman partners that had huge tripods and state-of-the-art lenses. 4 stations and a few newspaper reporters. I sheepishly stood there in my black jeans and got ready to stream on my Android phone with a room full of tech and professionalism. Some of the reporters I knew from being a viewer even looked at them as kind of TV stars. I felt a little better when some PD and FD police department and fire department members, including both chiefs, walked in the room and said hi to me by name since they were familiar to me. There would be no such question asking by good old doc rules. One of the big city reporters kind of ran the show, and everyone else kind of let her. I just concentrating on holding my hand steady for the station's feed and not coughing. I can relate to that. At the close, the reporters scattered and the officials walked back behind a curtain. That's where a moment where a well-dressed woman runs up to me like a bull in a china shop. She puts her hand on my shoulder and says, "So sorry I'm late, dude. GPS confused me. Did you get the footage? Can we use it?" I kind of stammered and figured it was some kind of broadcaster that wanted my footage. Why would she want mine out of all of them? I didn't register and just said, "Well, it kind of takes a minute. Just wrapped the live stream." She says, "Where's your rig?" I say, "Rig, huh?" She says, "Yeah, let's go outside so a stand up and do a stand up." "Yeah," she says, "let's go outside and do a stand up." It dawns on me that she thinks I'm her cameraman. Just then, an older white gentleman enters the room with a large canner. He introduces himself to her, and she drops me immediately with a quick terse, "Sorry, they told me it was a new guy and I hadn't met before. I thought you were my guy." I hung out for another couple of minutes, naively thinking she still might want my footage since she missed it, but I witnessed a competing station's cameraman barter with her about tape that was in the pool and that there would be money changing hands for it. The whole thing and the shorthand jargon they spoke in moved a little too fast for me to keep up, but it was cool. I had a lot of thoughts as I walked out of the police department that March 2022 afternoon, but I didn't realize I had a new IDWHL until today. I don't work here, lady. I had a new I don't work here, lady until today. That's interesting. I guess they went back to retail though, unless they're a famous reporter now. Okay, well, that's it for today. Um, Take care. I will be here tomorrow, I assume. Have a good day, biddies. Love you.